Okay, this is how to fix an unbalanced Samsung Active Waterjet that has problems with the tension rods. It's throwing up an error code called UR and it bounces around all over the place. Firstly, pull out the washing machine because you'll need to get access to it all the way around. Switch off the water at the back. Unhook the water hoses from the rear of the machine. Locate the two screws at the front. They are covered by two rubber grommets. Just get a flathead screwdriver, pry off the rubber grommets, and then unscrew the screws. When you've unscrewed them, you don't have to remove them from the holes. They won't go anywhere. Then there's a metal plate at the back that you'll want to remove, held in by 4 screws. Take those screws out and keep them in a safe place. There are 2 screws at the very top that are holding the plastic module. Unscrew those and keep those in a safe place. Then remove the metal plate at the very back. You'll see behind here there is a green wire saddle and it's held by a plastic pipe, and there's also a little saddle right at the back there, and then to the right there's also these 2 wires, and we'll want to unhook these as well. I'll walk you through that. Unscrew the top plastic saddle and keep that screw in a safe place. And then locate the plastic bracket that is on the suspension rod and also holding a little water pipe and a green electrical harness. You'll want to unclip those. All you need to do is get a flathead screwdriver and then you can pry it apart. It is these suspension rods that we actually have to replace in order to make this washing machine not bounce around. This one was covered in a little grease. Just had to clean my hands. Then find those wires on the other side at the back. They're pretty simple to unclip. Then you'll want to take that plastic top module and somehow pry it out of there. It comes out relatively simple, but needs just a little bit of wiggling. And flip that up, side down, on top of the unit. Now, there are 3 grounding wires that you will need to detach. Pretty simple. Just unscrew those, keep those screws in a safe place. All right, now there are 2 more bolts that you must take out that hold the whole top onto the metal frame. They're pretty simple. Again, once you've unscrewed them, you don't have to take them out. You can leave them sitting in there. They're in a safe place, as long as you keep the top sitting on top of the unit. Now I pick this up, and all I do is I twist it to sit on top of the metal frame. That then allows you to get access to all the suspension rods that you need to change. You can see down in there, the rods are sitting in a small saddle at the bottom of the tub. And then the top of the rods are sitting in the saddles that are on the metal frame. Now you have to get your hand in there to pick up the tub just a little bit so it allows the suspension rod to be unsaddled from the top saddle. You'll see me trying to get it out there. And there we go. Now you can push the rod down and it's easy to unhook it from the bottom saddle. And here's the rod. Now I put the rod on a piece of paper here, and here's the other rods that I have bought online on Amazon. I bought these for $42, pretty inexpensive. They come 4 in a box, and they're actually better rods. They actually have much more of a tension in those springs, so they should last longer and shouldn't fail just after a couple of years of usage like the original ones did. You can see the original one easily compresses. The new one has got much more tension in it, so that's a better rod. Now what I have done, I took the silicone grease that is on the old rod and I just pasted it onto the new rod. Now I'm assuming that just is there to stop there being any squeaks from the machine working. I do this with every rod that I'm replacing. Now I use a little flashlight to try and help see where this rod needs to be saddled into the bottom saddle, hooked into the bottom saddle right there. You can see it. You hook it in and then you pull the rod up and then you click it into the top saddle on the metal frame. Pretty simple. And there it is. That's the first rod in. I spin the top cover and locate the other rod at the front on the other side. Again, you can see the rod in the bottom saddle of the tub. You'll want to pick up on that tub to relieve the tension, unhook the rod from the top saddle, push it down, dislodging it from the bottom saddle, and it comes out quite simply. And then follow the same process of transferring the grease onto the new rod, and the inverse is true. You just hook it into the bottom saddle, pull it up, and then place it into the top saddle. Success. Now at the back you'll notice that this green wire harness and this little water line, the water line's twisted around that back suspension rod. So take note of that. Maybe you want to take a photograph, but take note of that because you'll want to replace it the exact same way. Just untwist it here. And with the new rod, twist it back through the same way that you found the old one. Set it in the bottom saddle of the tub. Pick up on the tub and place the suspension rod in the top saddle of the metal frame. Now on the other side, straightforward, the exact same thing we did at the other sides. Into the bottom saddle, lift up the tub, pop it into the top saddle, and there you go. Now every rod is replaced. Now remember, we need to put back all these brackets, so this plastic bracket needs to be clipped back together again. And we will want to get that plastic bracket at the very top of that green harness. That needs to be put onto the side, screwed back on to the side of the metal frame. Now to be able to do this, you remember to take the top lid and to replace it back in place, because that's the only way that you'll be able to screw that bracket back on. And that's it back in. Quite simple. Take that bracket on the inside, locate it to the right screw hole, and then screw it back in. Now remember, on the other side, there are those two wires. They're easy to clip back in, and just to set the blue one into its little bracket. Then replace the back panel with the 4 screws that you used earlier on. Now, remember to screw in those ground wires to the metal frame. Pretty straightforward. Now take the 2 back screws that hold on the top, screw those back in. I'm going to take the top module, flip it back into place, and I'm going to screw in the 2 front screws, and remember to replace the 2 little grommets. Now, last 2 screws. Click in the top plastic module again and secure it with the 2 screws. Slide your washing machine back in, put the power on, hook up the water, turn the water back on, and then test run it. Looks like these suspension rods worked. It is not bouncing around anymore, not throwing up any codes, and it looks like it's worked. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.